Hello guys, this is Abayomi, and for today I'll be talking to you guys about how to read and not forget. But first of all, I would like to share a personal story of what happened to me in my second year in the university. At that time, I went for an got on getting to the exam. I were given question papers and I was about to start, and as I want to write, I discovered that I could never remember anything from what I've read in the previous time while I was preparing for the exam. It was at that time I understood and I come to realize that I didn't even read the material very well. I didn't comprehend most of the thing in the material. So in subsequent times, I try kind of thoughts that subsequent times I learned from that mistake and I discovered some steps that I took that helped me in my other level, in my other parts in the university. So today I'll be sharing it with you guys, and I hope you find it useful while you are studying for your exams or your tests. So number one of those points that I actually practiced and I put into my study routine is repetition. Repetition. While you are studying for an exam, you don't just study at once. You have to repeat that particular thing over and over again. You have to repeat that particular material before you can get the most of the material. So the brain just don't grasp some of those materials at once at one reading. You must have visited it over and over again before you be able to get the most of the material. And number two of the point is testing effects. Testing effects. As far as repetition is very important while you are studying, you should also test yourself in the process of studying, because it is when you test yourself before going to the exam that you actually understand what you know and what you don't know. So most of the time you might apply repetition while you are studying and you go for the exam, but really it is when you get to the exam you might not really be able to remember vividly what it is at that point. But before the exam, if you've tested yourself, you've repeated reading the material, you've actually tested yourself, you've asked yourself questions, and you've understood. So that's how you'll be able to know what you know and what you don't know. So the third point that I'll be going through is mental rehearsals. Mental rehearsals. So apart from testing effects, you might also apply this kind of technique also at times when you read out of repetition. You might have this mental rehearsal. You might like visualize what you've read in your brain and try to recall what you've read. So mental rehearsal, I can also call it like recalling. Like you just have to recall, you just have to declare it, like by calling it out, by visualizing it in your brain. And so if you are not actually seeing it, or you cannot even recall at that moment, then you know that, oh, have not actually understood or have actually comprehend a particular material at that moment. So you just have to go back and read a particular material. So the next point is teach someone what you've read. Now, before, another technique apart from testing effects is teach someone what you've read. It is when you teach someone what you've read, like you actually repeat it to yourself and you rehearse it in your brain and again. At that point, it's another form of repetition. So when you do that over and over time, it is even actually when you are teaching someone that you discover some lapses that you might have encountered while you are reading, or some things that you got wrong while you are reading. So you can actually even detect most of those things when you teach someone what you've read. And the last point there is take notes while studying. At times when you are studying, you just have to like jot some things down. Like you might be reading a very large chunk of material, maybe like that is about like 100 pages or 200 pages at times. So at your first reading, you might want to draft out some of the points that you'll be reading for exam, and subsequently when you are studying or when you want to apply the act of repetition, you don't just have to go back to that chunk of 200 and something pages. You just have to like read your own drafts that you've read. So it is from that draft you'll be able to like write some things in the exam. Because I bet you, if you are trying to repeatedly reading that 200 and something pages worth of material, you might get stressed out at that point, and it won't be very easy for you to actually repeat. And mind you, there are other courses that you might want to read apart from that. So I hope these points I've given you have actually will help you while you are reading for any test or exam. Thank you for watching, and please like my video and subscribe to my channel.